Hey, Pastor Scott here today with a word of encouragement. I want to share from Ephesians chapter 2. I'll be preaching from it this Sunday as we're in this Rooted series, but I'll only be preaching from the first 10 verses. There is another teaching later on in this verse that I think it is so relevant to a situation going on in our world today, and specifically peace in the Middle East. It's kind of died down, but boy, it's just always just below. It's always at a simmer. Just the unrest over there, if you will, and it's about land and the promise of the land. I think it's important to remember that in Genesis, God promises the land to Abraham's seed, and it goes past the Jewish people. The promise is Jesus. Jesus is the seed. And so that's a little background for what Paul is teaching. And he is addressing the Jews and the Gentiles. And he says this in 2:14, "For he himself," talking about Jesus, "for he himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility." Isn't an interesting wall is there. There's a notion that once all the land issue is settled between Jews and Gentiles, that everything will be at peace. And Paul's saying that's not the case. The only thing that will settle and bring peace is Christ, he's the one that has destroyed the barrier between not just Jew and Gentile, but from all of us. And so it's when, and you know, not only what's going on in the Middle East, but what's going on in our country also. It's when we establish a peace vertically with God, and that is the foundation, that peace will transform and transcend all of our horizontal relationships. And so I would want to just ask you to be prayerful about this. Who are you struggling with in your life? What situations are you struggling with? And do you have in your mind of how it could all be made right if just? I mean, we all have that. It's part of our human nature. But the peace, and the only peace that will come, is when all of us establish our peace vertically with God through Jesus Christ first, and then the peace of Christ transcends everything. So let's all encourage one another to look toward Christ, because that is where we'll find our peace, and there alone. And be encouraged.